Right, we've got the big man of movies out of bed and he's ready to fire up. So,
Yes,
Sig
yes,
Anderson, Mr. Anderson, what have you got for us today?
yes, indeed. Oh, we got a couple of really interesting films in totally different areas. First off, we got an intriguing sort of thriller, mystery, combined many things called Saltburn. And then I'm going to be talking about the interesting film Caravaggio's Shadow, and another intake of the well-known Italian artist Caravaggio. But and possibly a little time for a few other things at the end. But let's start off with Saltburn.
Yeah,
And this is an intriguing film.
I had a look at the some of the shorts last night and it put a chill in me.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Very, as you saw, very sumptuously photographed, and it looks quite good from writer-director Emerald Fennell. You may remember he did an incredibly disturbing film called Promising Young Woman a couple of years ago with Carey Milligan. Folks, you can see that streaming online. Somewhere you'll find it. But, yeah, this is an incredible story. Been compared a little bit to Brideshead Revisited, and it's an intriguing tale of excess and rich goings-on and sometimes the intricate powers and occasions of the uber-rich. But it's 2006, a few years ago, and we have young Oliver, played very well by Barry Keoghan, and he is, you may remember, he's the young boy in The Banshees from Inisherin, very good film from last year. He's a promising young actor. He's good, but he's not so young, actually. He's got a very boyish look for being 31 years old. He was also one of the young soldiers in Dunkirk.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's a great actor. He's so good in this, and he's really going places, this guy. Barry Keoghan, remember that name. But he plays a pretty lonely guy who keeps to himself, and he's going off to his first year at Oxford on a scholarship. And he's pretty quiet and insecure, and he gets around a few things quietly, watches all the people going around, and he looks longingly across the room at one of the men about town, one of the uber-rich, Felix. And he's surrounded by friends, and all the girls flock to him. You know, the sort of guy. And he looks longingly. Oh, couldn't he be like him? You know, he's a young guy going around a uni for the first time, and he's a little bit looks across longingly, and there could be some possible homoerotic feelings. That, we're not really sure about this, but it's intriguing though that what happens though. But later on, he helps him out when he's a rich guy is on the way somewhere, and he has a flat tire on his push bike, and our young guy lends him his as an act of kindness to go off and go where he has to go. And this strikes a chord with him. He's a friendly guy. He helps him out a bit. So when he has a little bit of a problem later on, our young insecure guy, the rich guy invites him back to his place for the summer holidays. And this is, of course, an absolutely, totally sumptuous, beautiful, brilliant 12th century estate. It's just totally immaculate and very, as I say, uber rich. And he gets going, ingratiates himself with the family there. And this includes quite interesting, eccentric role played by Richard Grant as the father, and the mother, the ever good Rosalind Pike, ex-Bond girl. and she plays an ex-model, and is a bit of an alcoholic person. And he's also got a sister who gets around a bit and smokes a lot. She's fancies the guys quite a lot. But he sort of gets in with the family and goes through well. And they even throw an incredible birthday party for him, much like Midsummer Night's Dream. And he's looked on across with a little bit of concern by the American cousin who's concerned about this guy. He says, oh, he's a little bit jealous of him, I think. But things go a bit crazy and turn a little bit, and as you can imagine, things aren't quite all as they seem, and the tables may turn a little bit. You know, he's getting a little bit friendly with his family, and the way it goes there, it gets quite interesting because he it's such a good role once again from Barry Keoghan, and he's very quiet and introspective, and he gets himself involved with his family, and they take him in and are quite friendly to him, even though he's decidedly a bit, how can you say, okay, lower class. But it's filmed quite interestingly in boxy Academy style ratio, which means it's a bit of a narrower width and sort of encloses it in. And so it's a modern take on Virtual Brideshead Revisited, but with this incredible mansion and opulence. And David looks around to some of the Rubens on the wall, and Henry VIII slept there, and this sort of thing. It has quite a history. But it has a contemporary soundtrack with some modern music from the Killers and Arcade Fire and groups like that. So it's amazing. We have it's quite good role once again from Barry Keoghan. Also, so Richard Grant and Rosalind Pike, as I said, are quite good as the parents who don't know pretty well what's going on. And I must point out that we have a really good role from Duncan, the Serbian dour-faced butler, played by Paul Ruth, is quite good in that one. So it looks sumptuous. It's quite amazing, and it's a few twists and turns in this one. I think you will quite enjoy it. And once again, it's called Saltburn. Quite interesting.
Beautiful. And what about Caravaggio's Shadow? Yes,
Caravaggio is a totally different film, this one. And just back on, I meant to mention on Saltburn, it's
right.
Screening, 120 minutes, 127 minutes, pretty long, but it's quite good, keeps you going right through. And also, Caravaggio's Shadow is screening now as well. And this is an interesting take on the well-known Italian artist, and it's virtually a story of, it's not a biography really, but it's more a story of the last few years of his life from director Michel Placido, and it's an Italian-French co-production, and this comes in at 2 hours once again. And we have Caravaggio, is once again a 16th century artist and pretty prominent at the time, and is well known, of course, for his pretty realistic depictions of people. And he famously used prostitutes and beggars and local people, and transforming a lot of the local women of the night into Virgin Marys, and thieves and people are going up on his canvas. And the Catholic Church, of course, looked a bit down on that, and they were not too happy about these sort of things. And we all know he died very mysteriously in Tuscany back in 1610. But this film offers an idea of what could have happened. And we have Caravaggio, played very well by Riccardo Scamarcio, and you may remember him from Haunting in Venice. He was in that film. He actually Caravaggio gets in a street brawl with a person who is the son of a local gangster, and he's got to get out of Rome. He's got to get out of it quickly. And while he's in Naples, waiting for a pardon from the Pope actually sends an investigator to check out whether he deserves that and whether he's actually up for the debauched reputation that he has. And so the way it goes from there, this papal inquisitor, which calls himself the Shadow, which is Ombra in Italian, and played really well, totally different character by Louis Garrel. And he is quite interested in following and investigating his life to see whether he indeed deserves this papal pardon. And he's some of the people he questions are a Marquis, who was virtually offering him shelter and a bit of help, and actually an art collector, played by Isabelle Huppert. Now, here's a very, very good legendary actor. But she plays only a minor role in this, and is pretty well underused. And you take the role and you play the character you're hired for. But she's such a good actor, and we don't see much of her. And she's quite small. The Cardinal is played by the director himself, so Michel Placido, and so he played a small role. He sort of gave himself a bit of an extended cameo. But it's pretty amazing. It jumps back and forth in the timeline of these things, going in the past and in the current time during the film, back in the 1600s, and it's quite a very, very good production. And the cinematographer was really good, Michel D'Atancio, and he made a lot of the vision of this look similar to a Caravaggio painting. You don't see a lot of the actual paintings, but you do see, which I thought was intriguing, him setting up several of the paintings and how he gets them ready and how he chooses some of his models and get through there. And what happens to him in the end in this film, you'll have to see what this conjecture is on this one. It was obviously no one knows, but it was just a possibility of what's going on there. So Caravaggio's Shadow, I think, again, highly recommended, and it looks sumptuous, and it's what could have been possibly with this well-known artist.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Screening everywhere?
Excuse me?
Is it screening everywhere?
Oh, yes, it's screening all around right now in several Melbourne cinemas, as is the other one. So just in the last few minutes, just a reminder that we have the British Film Festival is still screening right through to 29 November, so you still got 10 days to have a look at several the British films, screening once again right around Melbourne. One of the intriguing ones, which I want to remind you about, is called The Great Escaper, featuring a very sprightly 90-year-old, believe it or not, Michael Caine, and also the late Glenda Jackson in one of her final roles. And this is a true story of a war veteran who dashes across the English Channel for D-Day celebrations, and he escapes from his home and gets to celebrate, gets across the channel to celebrate with his comrades, the few of them that are still around, for the 70th anniversary of D-Day back in 2014. And this is quite a good role from a very good Michael Caine, who plays the old guy as well. And it's pretty amazing the way he goes there. It shows how he can get through and from the spirit of the time, and somehow, I won't say how, but somehow get out there and get across and be with his friends. Also, it's the end of his, it just shows the relationship of his 60-year marriage with Glenda Jackson, his wife, and the character in this one. So it's quite a good film. The Great Escaper, screening at the British Film Festival. Once again, going right through till 29 November, Bill. So,
right. Any other ones that you've want to mention?
Well, yeah. Also from the British Film Festival, you have another one which you might want to check out, The Wife and Her House Husband. And this is a story about how divorce moves a little bit away from various things, and people go through how it goes between these people over 4 days, and they how they try and get back together and reconcile. And the husband is quite keen, but the wife is a bit hesitant, but they still have issues, and it's quite an intense two-hander between the two and how they go. It's quite a good script on this one, and it's pretty sparse in the shooting, but between the two, it's quite good. And once again, that's called The Wife and Her House Husband. one of the many films at the British Film Festival.
Beautiful. Well, we've hit 9 o'clock, so thank you very much, Sig, for once again being on Valley Lifestyles, and you'll be back next week with Hilary and Tony at the same time, and there's many more movies in the can, so to speak.
It certainly is. Thank you very much, Bill.
Okay, bye for now.